Welcome to Two Fuse Wrestling. We got a little spin on a fantasy booking edition, but first, make sure you like the page, subscribe to the page. If you think Hangman should have beat CM Punk at that pay-per-view and kept the title and had a long run, that brings us to the discussion of what this episode's about, and it is hindsight booking. Was AEW right in signing Punk? First off, I just want to say I am bitter because I thought Hangman Page was one of the best wrestling storylines of all time. I told you from the beginning that Kenny feud that they were setting up, and you kept telling me, like, I don't know, how do you know for sure they're doing it? I'm like, dude, it is. It's perfect. He was like the perfect person with this storyline. He could speak to the old school wrestling fans, the new school wrestling fans as a personality. He could speak for the introverts, the extroverts. I was like, dude, they are fucking nailing this. And I was like, this is the first time we're going to get like the franchise player done right. Like WWE had Roman Reigns as a franchise player and they kept dropping the ball. AEW, they told us he was a franchise player. Kenny, Omega, the Bucks, Cody, and we're like, hey, they're doing him right. And then CM Punk walks in, he was like, nice belt, give it to me, bitch. And it was like, after that, it's like,
it definitely does seem that way.
and here's the thing that too that really bothers me about Hangman 2 is based on cage match ratings. He had a 4.5 match with Brian Cage, 5.5 stars with Kenny Omega. Daniel Bryan, he had a 5, and then a 4 and 3/4, whatever Dave Meltzer stuff. Lance Archer had 4.5. He had 2 back-to-back 4.5 matches with Cole. He just took the title off the best wrestler in the world and one of the best wrestling storylines of all time. He's about to like solidify himself as, hey, I am a star. I am A-list. I am just as good as a Cody Rhodes, a Roman Reigns, a Seth Rollins. And then he has this fucking shit match with Punk, a 4.5. Then after that, he has another match with Daniel Bryan that gets 4.5. So after this Punk feud, he comes back and he gets his worst match with Daniel Bryan. Instead of getting better, he got worse. That makes me wonder, hey, is he mentally checking out? Because he was also, one of the guys that CM Punk shoot on in the ring, made him look bad, talked about in the press conference. So it's like, are you killing the morale of your franchise player for... I get that Punk and his fans say he wasn't a part-timer, but let's be for real here. He should have been a part-timer. Like, he was banging himself up all the time.
Yeah, he was maybe not broken down, but too much time off. So he wasn't back in used to the grind, I think, of wrestling.
And the other thing is, so he did bring in ratings.
Yeah.
That was fine. But if Hangman beats Punk to continue this run, it really solidifies him. And Punk's ratings were already there. They were his fans that he brought in were already watching with him in the mid card. Yeah. So it's not like he's drawing more fans in with as a champion.
It did feel like it was rushed. Like they rushed Punk to the title. I don't know if that was Khan wanting him as the champion to say, "Oh, I got this guy," or if Punk was saying, "I want the title." But yeah, like Page just got it, and he could have done more with it. And then you do that story down the road. Punk didn't need that title. He like you said, he was drawing against Darby Allin and Eddie Kingston. So he definitely didn't need to be the world champion, and especially at the cost of Adam Page.
You're a franchise player. And with AEW's rankings, which were still in effect back then, a loss doesn't hurt Punk at all. You're still going to get your ratings. He drops down to like 4th, 5th. Yeah. You have him feud with some people. He gets back in it, and then he gets the belt like 4 months later. Like, it was very like, when you bring in an old WWE guy and he beats your franchise player, to me it was like, why am I watching your company? Yeah. Like, you're just going to keep constantly signing ex-WWE guys and bringing them over and beating your homegrown talent.
Yeah. I feel like they should have done with Punk what Edge did when he came back. I know he worked with Orton. They didn't really have to work, but he did, maybe just to like get his groove back, and that Orton's a safe guy to work with. But Punk should have, coming off of Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, and then into MJF, instead of going to Adam Page, he could have worked with Adam Cole. He could have worked with back to Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, Like
Ricky Starks.
there's a lot of young talent that could have benefited from getting in there with Punk because I think Punk's an incredible wrestler, great promo, and he could have, helped and kind of imparted his knowledge on some of these younger guys. He didn't have to go right to Page and be the champion.
And that's the other thing is like, I was looking at the ratings too. So like he most definitely brought in an audience. Like you can't argue that. Having said that though, there was a couple times before he got there, within like 6 weeks, that they also got 1 million. They got 1 million with Darby Allin against Matt Hardy in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Then Darby Allin again and Jungle Boy get 1 million viewers for their main event match. Darby Allin and Jungle Boy, those are supposedly your 4 pillars.
Yeah.
So what I was wondering when I was looking at these ratings is, did Punk just speed up where you were always going to end up anyways? Like when I was looking at it, I felt like AEW eventually was going to get to 1 million anyways. Like you could see it was coming.
Yeah.
And Punk just got them there quicker by like maybe 6 months, like 8 months. It was like, and then at the cost of, like, we don't even know what the Young Bucks are going through. Like they said it was the worst time of their lives getting suspended. So, and they created the company. So it's like, what is that locker room going to be like knowing Tony Khan just took this WWE guy and let him run his company?
Yeah. Talking about like they were going to get there eventually. I don't think he did anything for Darby. If you look at, to me, just watching it, not looking at numbers or anything, Darby gets with Sting, and it's a cool dynamic. They have the twin face paint. They had that weird cinematic match that was actually good where they fought Team Taz in that warehouse. That was cool. And then you come out, and an incredible moment for Punk's debut / return to wrestling, and he calls out Darby, and they have their match. Not a bad match. Where's Darby go after that? He didn't. I know he ended up being TNT champion, but I don't think he gained any ground from that. Eddie Kingston went nowhere after Punk. MJF, he's world champion now. I don't think that's because of Punk. I think MJF was destined to be AEW world champion.
Well, yeah, I will give Punk credit for MJF getting the title because I don't think it happens if Punk doesn't have that press conference meltdown. Then I think, because it looked like,
maybe it doesn't happen when it does, but MJF was gonna be he was gonna be a world champion.
Yeah, he was gonna be a world champion, but I also wonder if he was legit really ready to just sit out his contract because he was feuding about the Wardlow putting him over, and I feel like that's another thing you said. Punk feuding with guys is, I don't know necessarily if MJF liked that storyline either, because again, a lot of times MJF was speaking truth in a way, like he wasn't really the heel as they were trying to play up.
I don't think that. I think the whole thing with Punk, his current run in AEW up to this date, I think it was just poorly booked the whole way, because I don't think Punk was the hero in any of it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I know he copied. He paid homage with the Darby Allin match to 123 Kid and Bret Hart, right?
Right. Yeah.
Why
Supposedly,
not?
I don't know.
Why not 123 Kid and Razor Ramon? Like if you think 123 Kid, you think about that upset. Give Darby that upset if you're such a old school historian of wrestling and you want to pay homage. Like that would have been huge for Darby.
And then you going into the Kingston thing, Kingston's calling him out for bullying guys for being overweight, and it's like, I mean, I'm a fat guy, so I'm not getting emotional here. I don't care about that. But that's a shoot thing. He was saying he was a bully backstage, and people, they were still trying to pass him off as the baby face. The things Adam Page called him out for, that's villain stuff that he was doing, and then he gets mad that he got called out for, and it's like, you're the bad guy, and everything that happens, you're the bad guy.
He shit on regular people that work at Target, and his press conference scrum about Matt and Nick Jackson totally shit on the Young Bucks, who
he called Adam Page like a dumb fuck or a big-headed something.
And I love how Cody made it seem like everything Punk said that he could do or was doing, Cody and the Bucks and Kenny Omega legit did.
Yeah.
So I feel like there was a lot of jealousy in that interview too, that press conference where he was mad at the Bucks. Not even to mention that now it's like he's willingly admitting that, oh shit, I was wrong. The Bucks
Yeah.
weren't the bad guy. It was Jericho. Like, you didn't think one time that it might have been Jericho?
Yeah,
Like,
how long have you known Chris Jericho?
yeah. So it's
You
like,
never blamed Jericho the whole
yeah,
time.
and the Bucks seem like, from all accounts, that they're pretty good human beings. Like,
Yeah.
wrestlers love them. So it's like, you didn't think to maybe talk to them and be like, hey man, what's going on?
And I'll give Punk some credit. Like, he got hurt, so he gets hurt with Adam Page, wins the title, has to give it up, comes back, has what, 2 matches, one with Moxley on Dynamite. Moxley won the rematch at the pay-per-view. He wins. He gets hurt again. So he's probably frustrated. And then you have this stupid, like, shoot press conference where you don't have
don't want to
gimmick.
talk. You don't want to talk about Colt Cabana. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, and you constantly
and
have
nobody
to.
even brought him up.
Yeah.
You sat down and you were like, I'm not going to talk about fucking Colt Cabana or whatever.
Yeah.
But so, he's hurt, he's frustrated, he knows he's going to need surgery again probably, and then you got to sit there with Tony Khan and you got to talk. So maybe not the best formula. So I'll give him credit that maybe the things he said were out of like anger and frustration.
I'll also give him some credit too in the fact that we don't know if it's him pushing for the title or if it was Tony Khan.
Right.
I think though when that contract was signed, it should have been known like, hey, you're coming in, and you're not the guy though.
Yeah.
Like you'll get the belt eventually, but Hangman needs to go on his run. It is what it is.
To be fair, if it was Khan saying I want you to be the champion, Punk easily could have denied that. So even if it was Khan pushing for it, you could have turned it down and not done it.
Again, his whole reason for quitting WWE partly was for the nepotism he said with Triple H and Daniel Bryan getting pushed to the side. But it's like, here you come in and you're big dick and Hangman. Like, hey, I'm the big draw here.
Yeah.
And you're totally shitting on what Hangman built up. Like, he built the company up from the ground. Well, I mean, the Bucks, Kenny and Cody, but he was their chosen one. They saw something in him. And then it's like, at least with Roman, he just had bad.
It was bad booking.
Yeah, Hangman did nothing wrong.
No,
and some guy
Hangman
just said
was doing great.
Yeah, I'm taking your shit.
A guy showed up.
Yeah.
So I think to me, it seems almost like Hangman was Sting, and Punk thought he was Hogan. Hogan came into WCW, and it all pushed to him, rightfully so. He's bigger star than Sting, but I feel like Punk thought, okay, I'm the Hulk Hogan in this situation. Push it all to me, and that was the wrong play because he's not Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, dude, that's a good comparison, and yeah, thinking about it, I know there's CM Punk fanboys and they think very highly of him.
Yeah,
but I'm not so sure that when it all goes down in history books, he's that much better than Hangman.
It's overrated. Very good wrestler, long title reign, deservedly so title reign. Good wrestler, good promo. He's not Steve Austin. He's not The Rock. He's not Hulk Hogan. It's as simple as that to me.
And I don't necessarily, the Summer of Punk and all those storylines back then, I was just reading about it. That wasn't a time I wasn't captivated by
I watched all
that.
of it, and he could never outshine John Cena.
And Hangman was outshining very
Kenny
talented
Omega,
people
Daniel Bryan
during his time.
Yeah.
So it's like, just give the young guy a chance. Don't come in and big dick him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm the guy that's. He didn't even main event WrestleMania ever. Like,
CM Punk, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, Cody did though.
Kevin Owens has 2 more WrestleMania main events than CM Punk.
That's very funny because I just found out, I was reading old stuff that he called Kevin Owens fat too, and Kevin Owens main evented 2 WrestleManias. He called Eddie Kingston fat, and people love Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, I don't care for Eddie Kingston, but I see why people like Eddie Kingston. I'm not saying he's terrible. It's just not my guy.
So in our hindsight booking, either we say Punk doesn't get signed or there's limits. Like, hey, dude, this is...
hindsight, it wasn't the right move. Maybe not the signing, but the booking of him was wrong, I feel like. because that return was an incredible moment. Huge like reaction. They sold out the United Center on a rumor he was coming. So I mean, you can't deny what that did. And they had all the momentum behind them, and then I think they dropped the ball. I don't know if Punk dropped the ball, Tony Khan dropped the ball, mixture of everybody, but in hindsight, for me, it was the wrong move.
Yeah, and to me, I would have brought him in only if I knew he was okay with being the role of, hey, you're just getting us some viewers. You're not the guy. You're not going
Yeah,
to be a main part.
you're part time.
Yeah, like Darby Allin is our future.
Do
Jungle
like
Boy
they
is our
did with
future.
Edge. You're gonna come in. You'll have a 3-month program with someone. Go away for a little bit.
Yep, that would have been.
And he probably would have been better off that way because then he's in that Brock Lesnar role, which, again, he thinks he's Hogan, Brock, Austin, and Rock.
And also with that time too, I feel like he could put on banger after banger after banger of match because he
Yeah.
had that time to recoup.
Yep. It would have been much better move.
All right. In the comments, let us know, knowing everything we do about this AEW drama, if it was the right move bringing in CM Punk.